Why did you choose this one? Why did you choose this one? But the Gallagher is even better. Well, that's correct, because you can then you in the mix this one is not. I think took away the better than because everyone is got. But this is wrong, you choose one. Because they agreed to that one, so you move them from them. Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, it's got space all over. We use that all the time. And they did say it's 100. This is too. Oh. No, but they said 100. You reduce it to 100. Yeah, it's got more space. This one is. I don't like. You know, I don't like. This one's all around, you know. It's at Dr. Joyce. This one. Where are we going to see? Dr. Address is looking at the plates fair. Yeah. She's gone down because look at that Dr. Precious. But just move it, Caesar. Just back a bit. Yeah, closer that side.
Sure.
That's right. And that one as well. Just sit there with Dr. Rejoice. Never forget to cool. Just perfect.
Jen, sorry, we're just waiting 2 seconds and we'll begin. Good to see so many of you. Your faces, it's been a while. Forgotten what those faces look like out of the mask. But glad you're all here safely. And excited for, I must be honest, very much like you, what I don't know. But what I do know for sure, as many of us sit here, is that if there's one thing that football has done in this country is feed our families. So whenever the two gentlemen that sit here get together, we're excited and hope for more food for our families. So as soon as our two guests do arrive, we will begin. And once again, we really... Oh, and we're waiting for more media as well. There's somebody else that's still coming, one more, which we will give the time. Good news, we want to spread it as wide and as far as possible.
Yeah, and then they say you must just after I've spoken, you'll distribute it. They say it mustn't be distributed before I speak. Just after I spoke, we'll distribute it.
Right.
Yeah, but bring my copy and all that.
The one media here?
That's ready, okay? Thank you.
So there's one more media. Excuse me? Is all the media here? Okay, cool.
Okay. Is that my copy? The Dr. Khoza's copy. You know? Oh shit, this is my one. It's drafted in big because my eyes are buggered up. Don't know why it's man. Why crazy. You know, Maban. You know that guy? He's the Minister of Finance. So on Wednesday, he says to me, wealth has never been created. And it's always created by the rich people. Because support the rich people.
He's going to face Dr. Patrice.
Yeah, I think we should start.
Don't wait for her.
1 minute. Yeah, I think it's
Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having joined us this very cold morning in Johannesburg. We're at the Sandton Convention Center for a briefing and a press conference that many of you came to blind. My name is Andy Lengube from SABC Sport, and I have the privilege of coming into this as blind as you are until literally 5 seconds ago. So the smile you see on my face is a beautiful smile of joy. At a time when so much is to complain about, so much is what we drag ourselves around with every day, good news is always welcome. I'd like to perhaps begin by welcoming and our host, CAF President, Chairman and Founder of the Motsepe Foundation, Dr. Patrice Motsepe. And of course, seated, you can, thank you very much. And seated next to him is the Chairman of the PSL, Dr. Khoza. Please also allow me to welcome, as she comes in, Dr. Precious Motsepe, who is the co-founder and the CEO of the Motsepe Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a big warm round of applause to Dr. Precious Motsepe. And it became warmer in here. We appreciate you always. Ladies and gentlemen, it's... It's not going to be a long one for us here. And like I said, I'm just a facilitator of what is coming. I will, of course, make way to allow for Dr. Patrice Motsepe, the CAF President, the Chairman and Founder of the Motsepe Foundation, to break the news to you, which thereafter, we'll have a conversation with Dr. Khoza as well and have questions and answers from you if you do and would like to spread the good news. This is something that we're hoping, as journalists that are sitting here, we speak about in the same vein that we speak about all the things that we do not like. We spread it as wide as we spread all the things that we speak about on a daily, on social media, through our different outlets as well. So as we begin, I'd like to, of course, welcome the members of the media who always make time to come out here and spread the news of the Premier Soccer League and spread the news of football in this country. If you could please give yourselves a big round of applause as well. I said a little bit earlier that this is something that we guard with our lives. This is an employment base for so many young black South Africans. And it spreads from that to their families, to their homes, far and wide in this country. The corners of the Eastern Cape that you've never been to is where people speak about football on radio stations you've never even heard of and make a living for their parents, for their families. And this all stems from this room here where we sit. as the custodians of this thing called football, something that we guard with our lives and protect because we care for it for what it does for all of us. With that being said, I can't keep you waiting any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome CAF President, Chairman and Founder of the Motsepe Foundation, Dr. Patrice Motsepe.
Thank you so much, Andile. Let me start by thanking my brother and family member, Khoza wa Madili Nama. There's always this story, and of course, let me first say, today I'm essentially performing part of my duties as chairman and co-founder of the Motsepe Foundation. It's part of the upliftment, contribution, and duties that we have as a family. And I also want to thank Dr. Precious Muloi Motsepe, co-founder of the Motsepe Foundation, Dr. Rijoy Semelani, trustee, and Khoza Motsepe. I've got so many bosses in my life, you know. But there are two quick issues I'd like to make in the context of what we are talking about today. And maybe I should start with a story. Many, many years ago, my father told my mother that he was very, very happy today because he'll be going to the airport. And my mother said to him, "But you look so happy, I don't want to ask why." He says, "I want to wear my black and white tie and things that reflects where you come from, which is Orlando in Soweto, and where I was born, which is Orlando in Soweto." But it was one of the happiest days of my father's love for football, because when he went to the airport, in the midst of all of the other people that were there to celebrate the history that was made by one of our oldest football clubs in this country, that has made so many of us proud. And this country has got a proud football history. And as I said, in the midst of everybody else who was there, Dr. Khoza went and gave him the trophy amidst giving it to so many other people. And he felt that it was a moment of pride for him, because he met my mother in Orlando. My father was a teacher at Orlando High before he then went to start the family businesses, because his father was a businessman. Why I'm saying all of these things is football occupies a special place in the hearts and minds of so many of our people. And as the Motsepe family, we are what we are because of the people of this country and because of the people of the continent. And there are many people all over the world that have made a huge contribution to my development. I worked in America, went to America with my wife, and there were people who believed in me and supported me. But there's an ongoing obligation, and particularly now when there are so many challenges. We've just come out of COVID, but so many of our people are unemployed. Lots of difficulties and problems and challenges at home. Feel excluded, feel marginalized. We have to use various opportunities to create hope, and also to motivate, to encourage people, because we've had challenges in the past as a country and as a nation. And one of the biggest challenges that we've overcome is apartheid. When there were discussions that we would have a civil war and there would never be a transition to democracy. So I just want to conclude in the first instance by saying that this country has got some of the most outstanding people, some of the most caring, and some of the most loving people. And I had a meeting on Sunday or Saturday with the editors the media in South Africa. And the point I made here is the point I'm making now. We are a very aspirational people. We are a proud nation, all of us, black and white South Africans. And football plays a unique role, an absolutely unique role, in contributing to our sense of confidence, our sense of optimism, our sense of entertainment and enjoyment, but also our sense of recognition. And the message I give here is the same message I give on the African continent, wherever I go, as well as globally, to say that for us in the African continent, and I grew up, I went to a boarding school in the Cape when I was 5 years old. And what kept me, I went when I was 5, what kept me motivated and excitement during difficult times was listening to radio, to Tlhapane Masitianyane, and how at that stage Orlando Pirates was playing AmaZulu, Zulu Royals, and Kaizer Chiefs, and various others. And that's why I have such a unique sense of pride that this country has got exceptional football talent. And I want to repeat what I said on Saturday. Orlando Pirates will win trophies and will win many trophies. Kaizer Chiefs will win trophies and will win many, many trophies. Various other clubs, Mamelodi Sundowns, must continue, all of these clubs, AmaZulu, Golden Arrows, because quite apart from the fact that as president of CAF, my duty is the development and growth of football in all countries and all national teams on the African continent. But I recognize I grew up in this country and was inspired by the culture of football. It's funny, the older I become, the more I recognize that there's so much in us about football and the critical role football played in our culture. The cool people were the football players. Alex knows, no le mahipi ba para the bell bottom, but go out bell bottom, and lead the platform sekana, and but so that's why today is a wonderful day where, in a humble way, we as a family can make a contribution to South African football. Now, let me tell you why we are here. Dr. Khoza has for many years spoken to me about various issues about the development and growth of football in this country. And the Motsepe Foundation supports schools football through the K Motsepe. We went to launch it in Orlando Stadium many, many years ago with Dr. Khoza, and I think Shilowa was still president. Shilowa was still Gauteng Premier. And of course, we've got a partnership through SAFA for the ABC Motsepe League. And the reason why we called you at such short notice is because he phoned me on Thursday. And he said to me, I need to talk to you as a family member. There's something urgent. Now it was yesterday, no? Thursday was yesterday. I'm disoriented. He called me yesterday. I assume it's Friday today, no? All I know is I'm flying out tonight because I've got to be in Morocco for the women's AFCON. And of course, in my capacity as president of CAF, I've got to support all of them and wish all of them the very best, and even better still to have one of them, one of the nations become to win the FIFA Women's Cup. But he phoned me yesterday and said, I need to talk to you urgently. Now, the two key issues is when he says, I need to talk to you as urgently, which is fine because my mind was urgent. But then he said, I need to talk to you as family. Now I thought, this is complicated because there's a code language. When people say we want to talk to you as family, you know that you have to you have to almost stop everything and accommodate. So I was trying to be smart. I said, can you tell me over the phone? Because I know when it's family, there are problems. He says, no, this one needs me to sit with you. And so anyway, so we got together. And he was saying to me, we've got an urgent matter. And, part of my duty is to contribute to football development in the PSL, as well as in the second division. We really need help concerning sponsorship for the second division. So he's spoken to me in the past on, and let me tell you this, even the PSL, I'm very confident that, let me give you an example. Some of the young people in this country who grew up in rugby had such a strong affinity and love for rugby. So when they grow up, they would use their relationships in the corporate world to develop and grow rugby, which is wonderful. Those of us who grew up in families that, and many of us, millions of South Africans, we have a special place for football in our hearts, very, very special. And of course, part of our job is the promotion and advancement of football countrywide. But I do want to say that I'm confident that the PSL, I'm talking about the Premier Soccer League, will as we move forward, get significant sponsorship from many of the biggest companies in the country, as well as globally, because it's something that our people are passionate about. But today, we are announcing, and that's why it's an honor for me, and I think I'm going to ask him to read the statement after Dr. Khoza has spoken. We are announcing a partnership involving the role that the Motsepe Foundation has played. Now, the Motsepe Foundation is a public benefit organization and cannot get involved in profit-making undertakings. That's why even when we funded the black and white farmers, the Motsepe Foundation has a role to play in terms of paying respect to the culture of Ubuntu, the culture of Ubuntu, where you've got a grandmother who uses, and many of our other mothers, uses the money that they get from the state grant, which is very, very small, and uses that money to help our children, to help them with food at great sacrifice to herself. So we want to encourage this culture of giving, of caring, and the work that Dr. Motsepe is doing in relation to the Motsepe Foundation, but also many other foundations, and all of the millions of our people who sacrifice to help others, because we either grow together as a country and as a community, or we have challenges and problems, all of us. So today is a great honor for us. We got the Motsepe Foundation to interact, because as he was talking with me yesterday, I had to make a few telephone calls to some of the trustees of Motsepe family companies that are associated with the Motsepe family. And of course, the first one I have to start always with is Dr. Motsepe, and she was excited because football is something that we love immensely, and it's a sport that is loved by millions of our people. Football is a sport for the poor. Is the sport of the poor, and that's why it's of very particular relevance and importance to the Motsepe Foundation, because its focus is the poor, and the conclusion of that literally hours discussion, where I had to bully some people and force some people, because once I knew that I had Dr. Precious Motsepe's excitement, what remained is, and Dr. Rejoice was saying, but I'm a trustee, and I heard a few minutes ago, but of course I did tell her last night I want to talk to her. I couldn't tell her what it was about. So we're announcing this partnership between the Motsepe Foundation has engaged some companies that are associated with the Motsepe family. And those families, those companies will be sponsoring. They'll make the money available for what was called the second division. We want to get involved always in those ventures where the private sector has got challenges. We don't want to get involved where there are hundreds of companies and there's a lot of competition. We leave that for others because that's good. We need all the help. But we usually prefer, like schools football, amateur football, where there isn't a lot of publicity. It's not very attractive to the private sector. And I think with the excellent support and the innovation of Dr. Khoza and the PSL, we are going to make the second division, because it is the name of the second division is going to be changed, and it's going to be called the Motsepe Foundation Championship. So that's and I had another name, and I'm unfortunately not as talented as Dr. Khoza is. He says, "Make batla championship," and I tanda le championship le. So I thought, anyway, it is the ABC Motsepe maybe talking about championship. All of those who have this connection with Olam. So today we are launching this partnership between the Motsepe Foundation and the PSL, and we are launching the Motsepe Foundation Championship. And part of the problem is, tell us about the money now. We want to know about the money. Because one of the things I learned very early on when I got into the mining industry, the mine workers, one of my first mass meeting with about 10,000 workers, they said, "Fontin, we like you so much, but if you can increase our pay, we will like you more." And all of these wonderful things about job creation, which is important, and upliftment, and I can assure you it is significant, because football is a sport. It's something we love. It's more than just what happens on the field of play. It's who we are. It's our culture. It's our tradition. It's our expression of our history and the expression of our pride. And I was watching the 1982 FIFA World Cup and the game between Italy and Brazil. I tell you, it's unbelievable. Eh? Alex, Brazilians, and you see how the Brazilians love football. Eh? And one of the things, that I'm also learning, during the Cameroon AFCON, they kept me 3 hours with a police escort. 3 hours in the road on the way to the stadium. And I was and there were tens of thousands of people, and I was so frustrated because I had to be at the stadium, and there were some things they wanted to tell me, they had to brief me on. But there's always something good, even in complicated environments. And as I was sitting in the car, driving so slowly, and I looked into the houses on the road, and I then began to understand why Cameroonian football and football in Africa is there's so much passion, so much love. In every house, they were singing and dancing and watching football passionately. The sort of things you see Kodishi bidding Sarona. And you feel frustrated that you're not at the stadium, but at the same time you feel excited, because I wouldn't have seen that, because it's always in a hurry, always flying. Here now all of a sudden I get exposed to the love and the passion that our people have for football. So those are some of the remarks. And after Dr. Khoza has spoken, Andile will read the press statement, will circulate the press statement to you. But I just want to conclude by saying that, at the personal level, a huge amount of gratitude to you personally we thought that Orlando Pirates was going to, get a chair. We thought that Orlando Pirates, before you got involved, we were worried because it looked like Pirates was in serious trouble. And you got involved and helped and helped Pirates. Wa hopola Chipa Chao ke mona ba tshameka le Celtics or go ebe Chipa Chao ke a thusa. But the contributions you've made, and of course, we grew. Alex never swenya go high go Pretoria go bare. You can't be from Pretoria and not love Pretoria clubs, you know. So, but the problem is, I'm a generation that grew up when when the Bantu Kellys was the club. Bantu Kellys, Alex, in the 70s, and then of course in the 80s, Sundowns came, and of course as president of CAF, I love all clubs. But I want to thank Dr. Khoza for the good work and contributions over many years for football in South Africa. I also want to thank Khoza Mutaung. I mean, these are special people, man. Very, very special for his unique, and Dr. Khoza's unique contribution to football over many, many years. And I'm talking football in the townships, and thank the whole of the PSL, Mato and people in the Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and what you will also see that what we are trying to do as well is to make sure that the prize money, we want to increase the prize money. Just like we announced the other day, Dr. Jordan, when we had the ABC Motsepe League, that we want to increase the prize money. And we also, you will see in the press statement, we want to increase the prize money in the Motsepe Foundation championships so that when they get the money, they are ready for the PSL. But we also want to increase the number of young people on the field of play in the championship. So with those few words, and a special welcome to yourself, Dr. Jordan, the brand new SAFA president, and you were telling me that you are working very, very well with Dr. Khoza and with Dr. Mutaung and with Mato and with Ria Lidwaba and everybody else. This is beautiful because football brings everybody together, and we must always use football to bring all of our people and use football for upliftment, for job creation, and bring black and white South Africans together. With those few remarks, I want to thank all of you for coming. The media space plays a unique role, and we'll have questions after the statement. And I'd like you to clap hands for Dr. Khoza as he comes to make his remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Motsepe, the president of CAF, also the member of the Motsepe Foundation, but in particular, Dr. Precious Muloyi Motsepe from Soweto, where I come from and where I stay. The trustees of the foundation, Khoza Motsepe, the president of SAFA. It's true that, after the meeting of the EXCO yesterday, in the township, they say I was ding-dong. We just had a meeting with the sponsor of the National First Division. They said news to me, and I had to invite them to the EXCO, where they appointed a delegation of about 4 people, myself, Mr. Khoza Motau, Dr. Matoma Dlala, or CEO Dr. Matoma Dlala, and Michael Murphy, to engage them. They said something very interesting to me, that because of the market conditions, they're downsizing, and they are not able to be coping with the sponsorship going forward. And the next week, must release the fixture. What do we say? That is why I took up a phone. Dr. Rejoice, you can vote for me. I didn't tell the executive committee. As I'm talking here, I was not sure this thing's going to happen. Nobody on the executive committee knows about what is being announced now. Because I was petrified. Because 2 days ago, I had a meeting with the president of SAFA. He had 3 items on the agenda, all about football, how to better the product. Now, that for me, it was a challenge, because there are meetings that you don't talk about. The unfortunate part is we were leaving the meeting room, we met his sister, who kept us busy for 45 minutes.
Which one? I've got so many sisters.
The ambassador of the Pan-African Parliament.
Oh, my God.
They kept us for 45 minutes, and he left me there at the entrance of the venue for another 20 minutes, talking about the family. Now, talking about the family, it creates problems for me, because I get to talk about things that, few people know about them. As all of us sitting in this room now, I don't know whether he realizes that it's 8 years ago that he was the transaction advisor of the group that took over Tsogosan. And I was one of those people. We had a meeting also in the towers, the 2 of us, saying to me, we've got to build a constituency. And he was a lawyer at that time, not the Motsepe that you know. To say it's very important that, in our spheres of influence, we've got to make a difference. You cannot leave everything to the government. You must ask yourself that in your area of influence, what are you doing to advance the cause of the democratization of this country? There's a question that we discussed, myself and the president of SAFA, who was my CEO when I was his chairman of the organizing committee, to say the country has just been liberated. It's a new democratic South Africa. What is required of us? When there's something that is going to assist as a catalyst to fast-track the democratization of this country, and it was the World Cup. Dr. Oliphant decided, the 2 of us, to say to go to Africa, to the world. Gave us only $300. With about 10 national associations in Europe, we all convinced them. Only one, up to today, we could not convince them to come to Africa. That is Italy. So the 2 days has been very interesting for me. I'm sharing this because it's a very light moment where pains and anxiety, because what he discussed with me, the president of SAFA, what I conveyed to him in terms of my concern about the news I heard yesterday, is to stop the chain of making sure that we maintain this product. We maintain this hope. We also encourage the people that are coming from ABC Motsepe to come to a league that is functional, that is stable, that is organized. How do you do that? Now, you can see in my notes here, I scribbled by hand. Because I don't know what I'm going to say. Pathfinding has characterized the Motsepe family from an early age. Patrice, as I know him, he knows how to sink a shaft, and importantly, how to meet the requirements. Our continent and country requires men and women ready to serve. Motsepe, Africa has a son that has raised his hand for which the position he can do for him is not the question for him, what he can do for the position. For that, I want to thank you and the foundation for being responsive. In this world of the commercialization of issues, they want to understand the return on investment. You never asked me that question. Because you understood what it is required of this country. There's too many problems and too many commentators with no solutions. You never asked me too many questions. I said, but the timing is not right, and I'm going to Morocco. Where will I find the time to organize this thing? I said, I'll leave it to you in your safe hands. All of us in the PSL recognizes that, and will take not this for granted, but in fact, it's a challenge to us how to reward your public spiritedness coming on board at a crucial time where things were looking a bit shaky. I've commented before that your success is because we have forward vision. You see before others with clarity things that others will see only when they physically happen. Your term of endearment used by the family, reservedly used for those close to your heart and your hearts of the family, is appropriate. Today I want to repeat, I use it to you and Dr. Precious Motsepe to denote my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude. Ke a leboga, bana ba ko gae. Here's the challenge. There is always a need to connect beyond philanthropy. As time goes on, philanthropy suffers from donor fatigue. How to energize and give oxygen to the foundation to assist the worthy causes that come knocking at your door. When I spoke to the president of SAFA, I said to him, there's a challenge that we are not seeing. How do we remain relevant in the business of football, in the sport of football, in the world over? And I said to him, there's one thing I want to challenge you, Mr. President. Go and ask yourself, or answer the question, why do so many data centers are built around the continent? Now, I said this because I know I'm in the business of three things in the PSL. I'm in the business of eventing. I'm in the business of content creation, live content. But I'm in a business that creates conversation. Continuous conversation. When I was appealing to his heart, I said there are three things that are important in our lives, especially we Africans. Firstly is the family, the inner family in particular, where there are things that you cannot discuss outside that inner family. That's why when he said it's about family, I knew I was appealing to a certain nerve in his physiology. But more importantly, there's the issues about the church. When the pastor, the priest, the bishop has finished his sermon, as you leave the gate, sometimes you forget the sermon until you are in trouble. You start quoting the verse, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. You see with our players, when the score is 3 goals down, they come and hug each other, they pray for the first time. They never pray when the things are good, because they think they've got all the answers. Then there's the most important, institution, it's football. Why is football important? It's important because there's what I always say, it's got a lingering on effect, lingering on taste. As chairman of the league, I'm conflicted, so they say the people. But I'm enjoying one of the most powerful access to every club. Don't say, no, Pirates, no, you can't come here, Bochakwane. No, Mukateng, no, they allow me freedom. I go to the village to Khoza, I just go through. You can't say, no, it's a derby tomorrow and the chairman can't come here. That's the power of the sport. Now, because it gives you that political, kind of inclination, also access to everything, it behoves of me and everybody what we do in return. Because this is an industry, this is a sport that makes the difference in the lives of people. I've addressed you on several occasions that when they speak, they never speak about Sundowns. Hey, our teammate is winner, man. My Sundowns are winner. As if it's their team. They are spiritual owners, but they talk as if they are paying their bills. There's the boss there. She never says anything. I was watching his son, Toby, who has taken over. They even sometimes try to bring me into the stage. She refuses. I know I'm fine here. He's humble. But I don't know that he understands the burden that is bestowed on him of making sure that he maintains the momentum started by his father, who, by the way, he decided to call himself president. That's why I see it's only when things happen that you realize what he meant then. You see things with me and you don't see. And I said to the executive committee meeting as a way of jest. We talk about Stanley Matthews was his birthday was on the 17th of June. So Stanley, we are bad luck, my friend. Should have born on the 18th of June, because Mbeki was born on the 18th of June. He could have been president. I said, you're not alone. I was born on the 27th of January. Patrice was born on the 28th of January. I couldn't have been on it. I was dead earlier. But the challenge is here. How do we maintain our relevance? Now, some of the clubs in the first division, they come in there not understanding what is expected of them, Because I always remind them, knowing the rules where they say you're going to get a grant when you come to the PSL or in the Premier Division. You are coming there because you want to invest in the sport. When you want to call it business, we shall call it puni business. Puni because you develop a player, then BBK says I'm the agent. You never spend 1 cent in the investment in the development of that player. Says I'm an agent. After 3 years, how much you want to pay this player? No. If you don't give so much, I'm taking him somewhere. From age 7 to age 16, you've been spending the money. You order a fixture, FNB Stadium, you pay ground rental. Hospitality say you don't own those rights. We're owning those rights. Pouring rights, we own those pouring rights. You don't own anything. So what kind of business is this? Pony business. Now, all that is demanding on the person who's investing where to find the money to meet the expectations of the people. That is a challenge. But the question I raised also with the president of SAFA in our private discussion, why the fund managers in the US now are buying teams in Europe? There was an offer the other day. I don't know how far it has gone. They offered to buy the whole La Liga. BBK, I know he knows this thing. He'll tell you whether I'm talking nonsense or not. I'm sure he must have picked it up. Guys in the sports department, they should know this. I don't know what 24 billion pounds or dollars or what, I don't know. They say they only want 8% return. Only 8% return. All along, football was not attractive to the fund managers. In particular from USA. The question is why. Now, I said to the president of CAF, my challenge is simple. I can talk about the British teams. The British teams, also you can see who's buying into the top teams. US investors, don't talk about the UAE people. But the challenge is, what are they buying? BBK is my assessment. They are buying a community. They don't want permission, diplomatic permission from the ambassador, from the president of that country to talk to the people of that country. I spoke about the data centers. I've spoken about now the proliferation of these fund managers. Now, because they are buying a community, they can talk direct to the community. Who's the community? The supporters. And the biggest challenge is that, the EPL, the uptake all over the world. But because also the people that, funded, the EPL in 1992 when they were repositioning, again, we were together with Dr. Jordan when we went on a survey. We wanted to do the PSL all over Europe to find a model. Now, when they did the deal first time, the EPL guys, they were given X amount of money. And they were not happy about it. Why? Because the man who was negotiating on the other side, he felt, man, you get out what you negotiate. He got them down to bare minimum. They were not happy, they left. Second round of the contract, again they tried their luck, says no. But 3 months later or 2 weeks later, he came back, he offered what he asked them from him. And they asked the question in the board, why did you give them the money? He said, I gave them the money, they must invest in the product. Today, the most sought after rights is the EPL rights. Because he saw that there's the potential here. They want money for the right reasons. And that is why by going to Dr. Motsepe and the foundation, we are trying the best we can, guys, to create a product. Yeah. We don't have bottomless pocket. We are poor people. We just got the passion. You know, Ronabotaki is not rato. And the ratan tosentle. Cannot fault us for that. I cannot have money in the bank, but my shoes will be polished, at least, to give you hope when things are happening. To give you the girl that I'm trying to propose, no, so I'm just saying these things that we've got a bigger challenge. It's going to Morocco today. We discussed with the president of Saudi. He says, Chairman, how much are they spending in Morocco for development? I says, no. He says there's an academy there. Yeah. The government has spent $1 billion. In your money, 16 billion rands. The question is, do we go to our government to ask for money or investment? Because most of the associations in the continent are funded by the government. We know government is constrained because of the challenges that we all know. Yeah. There must be a way, Dr. Jordan, that you must have a formidable team. Maybe we're in a room, the three of us now, to go to the government and persuade the government to say some consideration on sponsors. Yeah. So when they put in the money, they are going to get some kind of dispensation of some sort. Because if we don't promote that campaign, we're going to blame you, we're going to blame him, they're going to blame me. These guys here. But let me tell you, they are dying during the lockdown. Chairman, we're losing our job. When are you going back to the stadium? For the first time I saw them being so nice to me. I won't mention names. Because they were losing jobs. Because of the lockdown. And maybe Dr. Jordan, that you are here, to Dr. Patrice Motsepe and Dr. Precious Motsepe for your responsiveness. For Botubalona. Because we can say whatever we like. Not everybody wants to share what he has been endowed by God. It means a lot about your family. And I never take it for granted. Because you always make sure where it matters most, we are always visible. Not but one person. That's why I know him as a lawyer, as a family friend. I let the ticket for match, but today is Dr. Motsepe because he's my elder by position. I respect his position. But again, when I spoke to him yesterday, I didn't take him for granted. I had to explain. I had pains to explain. That's why the EXO members, I apologize wherever you are listening. I tried to find a solution. Because if this thing collapses, I was going to have to answer what I don't understand. Absolutely. I want to thank the outgoing sponsor of the division. Because why I say I want to thank him also. The foundation said they want to call it a K. Motsepe Schools League. Kate is the mother. APC League is the father. Glad Africa, Gladys is the mother, Africa is the father. Glad Africa Championship. That's why I appeal to the president, don't change to another thing, please. Just leave the championship. Because it's going to be very, very, very important for the legacy of your father, will carry the Champions League. Was the first one in the continent, the English-speaking country of Africa to call that trophy at the airport. And he went and won the Africa Cup of Nations in 1996 after they've won that one. So I'm here today to say thank you to the media, to everybody, that I understood what he said that in terms of this, the prize money, because over and above what we're paying, was getting for sponsors, we spend so much money as a league to better the product. Because if you don't do that, there won't be a conveyor belt of a finished product. You can see the teams that promoted last year, they're still there. They were never relegated. It means they're doing a good job at ABC Motsepe from SAFA involvement. For us in the PSL, that interface, that stage before Premier Division, is not to prepare them. But without a sponsor, it's going to be just a challenge. Once more, thank you for coming at short notice. Thank you, Dr. Patrice, the foundation, Khoza, my friend. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we can do a little better than that. A big round of applause, please. There's an African saying that says, if you want to get there alone, you'll get there. But if you go there together, you'll get there way quicker. And I think that's what we've just seen now. A great example of what can happen when, and I'm going to use the word brothers because it's family, work together. We get there and we get there quick. Took one night, one call, and here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome the new president of the South African Football Association. Congratulations, President, Dr. Danny Jordan. And I'm pretty sure it was heartwarming for all of us to hear of how well you're working together with Dr. Khoza. We await great things. If you please allow me to just read the media release. It will be and is currently being distributed to you all. Media release dated 1st of July 2022. Motsepe Foundation and PSL launch Motsepe Foundation Championship. The Motsepe Foundation announces today that it has secured funding from companies associated with the Motsepe family to sponsor the Premier League, known as the PSL, second division, as part of its ongoing commitment and contribution to developing and uplifting football and making South African football self-supporting and globally competitive. The second division league will be renamed the Motsepe Foundation Championship. The founder and chairman of the Motsepe Foundation, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, said, and I quote, "South African football has a long and proud history and has produced some of the most talented players in Africa and the world. It is an honor for the Motsepe Foundation to make a humble contribution to the development and growth of South African football and to making South African football amongst the best in Africa and globally. Dr. Khoza contacted me yesterday and requested to meet me urgently. Important that. Sustainability and promotion of South African football. I am excited that my urgent request to the Motsepe Foundation for support was accepted and activated at short notice. I knew that Dr. Patrice Motsepe would be departing on Friday night for the Total Energies CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, and we wanted to conclude and launch the Motsepe Foundation Championship before his departure. Part of the sponsorship funds will be used to increase the prize money and for youth development. There will also be policies to ensure that there are more youth players on the field of play in the Motsepe Foundation Championship. Dr. Precious Moloi Motsepe, co-founder of Motsepe Foundation, and I quote, "We have over the years supported football as it provides thousands of jobs, contributes to the improvement in the living conditions and standards of living of the poor and marginalized, and is loved by millions of our people." Close quote. The Motsepe Foundation currently sponsors in football the SAFA ABC Motsepe League and the K Motsepe National Schools football competition. End of statement. A couple of things came from the gentleman that stood here before and spoke. Dr. Patrice Motsepe said, football is a sport of the poor. And I think that's very important, because what others call a poor man's sport, he termed a sport of the poor. We took our passion, our love for kicking around a ball, and fed millions in this country. Globally, in Africa, everywhere you go. And that's important. And as you sit there as journalists, Dr. Khoza said, in your area of influence, what are you doing? All we are as journalists. Our power is in our tongue, our power is in our pens. What are we doing in our area of influence?